Hi everyone, I'm Laura.
And I'm Eva, and we are both family mediators who work as a team helping families through the process of divorce and separation.
I have a background in mental health and a master's of laws in dispute resolution.
And I'm a family lawyer, and we incorporate these additional backgrounds into the style of mediation we practice, which is called co-mediation.
This podcast is called Love, Divorce, and Everything in Between. And this particular video shorts editions will be focused
We're going to talk briefly about abuse in mediation, the context of mediation. So if one party or both parties have had some form of an abusive relationship or a dynamic, then how do we deal with that in mediation?
So it's one of those hot topics. I think you can agree, Laura, right? Even professionals are divided on whether, families who have experienced abuse can join mediation. Although Laura and I have been able to work with families in a very productive way. And so the first thing I always tell people is in co-mediation, that's the best structure for one of these higher conflict families, because we're both two professionals here and we are working on making sure everybody is safe, the conflict is de-escalated, and that everybody's voice gets heard. And there's a number of different ways we can do that.
So just to start with, we always have to conduct what's called a screening for domestic violence and power imbalances. So we do that screening with every single party before we engage in mediation. And you know what? Sometimes mediation may not be appropriate, and we have to inform the parties of that because, either the level of conflict is too high, or we sense there is manipulation, or there is not, they're not entering on the same sort of a good faith footing. So all of these factors may actually, preclude someone from proceeding with mediation. However, if we proceed with mediation and we have uncovered that there is or there has been some abuse in the relationship, we are always, Eva and I, put in place procedures and structures. We have to restructure the mediation in a way that's safe, that your voice is at the table, that sometimes we put boundaries. If families still live under the same roof, how are they going to engage in terms of communication, in terms of privacy, in terms of cool-off periods after they engage in a conversation about how parenting or their separation. So there are ways that you can structure the mediation in a way that it's protective of everyone and promotes the safety of both parties. What I feel, and that's just my personal opinion, although to Eva's earlier point that professionals are divided very much so when dealing with abuse in a relationship, in a separation and divorce. So we have on one hand saying mediation, there's no way. If there has been abuse, don't go to mediation, it's not appropriate. And then we have on the other side of the coin, which is more what I'm tilted towards, is, well, if court and litigation has been, research has shown 100% that increases conflict, then it would be careless on our part to tell parents or families who are experiencing abuse to go into a forum where it is absolutely proven that it will escalate and increase conflict. So that to me is it's something that we are not doing particularly a good job at. So if they are going through mediation, we have to find ways to structure that in so everybody is safe. Sometimes Eva and I put not only procedures in place, written, things that somebody has to sign and adhere to, but sometimes we integrate professionals, so a child consultant or a therapist or a trauma counselor, to make sure that we are moving in a way that is healthy for everyone and that not only allows both parties to have a voice at the table in their optimal capacity, but also that it is a safe process and that where nobody is going to come to an agreement via pressure or bullying or feeling intimidated. So there are elements and structures that we can put in place for sure, to alleviate concerns. Sorry, go ahead.
No, absolutely. And, sometimes I think of, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I need to just get out of my relationship, I need to get out of my marriage, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. Mediation is a lot quicker than going to court, but of course we have to make sure that everybody is safe. And so there are some structural things we can put in place so that you can still, use the process of mediation. So for example, when we were meeting in person pre-COVID at our offices, oftentimes if there were higher conflict families, we would have them enter our office at different times, so they never ran into each other in the parking lot. They never ran into each other in the foyer. Some individuals were in separate rooms, so they never saw each other, and Laura and I would go back and forth. And we can still do that virtually. We ask that the participants are in separate physical spaces, and they remain in separate physical spaces after the mediation. They can even be in separate virtual rooms, and Laura and I can go back and forth. And so that still provides a atmosphere that is private and safe and allows both parties to have their voice heard, but still facilitates a negotiation and frankly still ends the relationship in a very much quicker way than any of the other processes out there. And so I think that's a huge strength for someone who's going through this right now to consider.
Also, if there is any imbalance or abuse, we require as a prerequisite that, families do have legal counsel, because one of the things that we cannot do in mediation is advocate for one or the other positions, but their lawyers can, right? So then we can be in the middle and have, have their counsel advance their respective positions and work alongside with them. I'm Laura.
I'm Eva.